What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video. So in this video I want to talk about Tekashi 6ix9ine interview with the Shade Room. It was a two-part interview and it's two different videos, and I think the interview was 3 days ago and I just watched it like yesterday, and I was very into it because a lot of us know Tekashi 6ix9ine as of now as being not only a troll but also a rat. People have painted him as a rat because of one side of a story that we've gotten so far up until this interview. And so now this interview gives us a more full detailed description of everything that happened leading up to him going to federal prison. So of course we know that Tekashi 6ix9ine was in the gang Treyway, and his best friend is Shotti, and then it's a whole lot of other people that I'm not going to name because a lot of them I don't remember. But before we really knew what really happened, like the full details, it's like everyone had labeled him as a rat because he ratted out his gang. He took everybody down with him and they looked at him as being disloyal. But that was before we know the full story. That's why it's always good to get both sides of the story. And I like to know everything that has happened before I just judge someone based on bits and pieces of them. And, you know, it's just like he was put in this position to do what he did. And what led to that was disloyalty from other people who had really put a lot of trust in. Now, his best friend, his right-hand man, Shotti, is the one who hurt him the most. Now, he told about Scotty's, secret relationship with his baby mama, Sarah. He even spoke about how he beat her up so bad after he went in Scotty's phone and pretended like he was calling the girl he was messing around with, Jade. He went through Scotty's phone. He put in Sarah's phone number and looked at all of the text messages. She had been texting Shotti like, "Are you with Danny? Are you still with that bitch?" and stuff like that. Like, where you at? Like, she just was blowing him when he was with Tekashi 6ix9ine or wherever he was. But either way it goes, Tekashi, he figured out that they did have something going on, even though in the back of his mind, it's like his intuition had been telling him. And he mentioned like from June, July, and August, how leading all the way up to him really finding out about them messing around behind his back, how his intuitions had been telling him, like his gut feeling had just been trying to show him something that's been going on. Now, at the same time, he's not completely innocent, of course, because he was cheating on Jade. I mean, he was cheating on Sarah with Jade. And I mean, yes, that's wrong. So it's not like, I'm not like excusing his behavior. But aside from their relationship, I really want to do this video to paint a picture of the narcissist in his life, who was his best friend, Shotti, and how he was so jealous of 6ix9ine, the person who did so much for him, the person who really trusted in him not to go behind his back and do something like that. And just the person who he really just put on and everything. And he was much older than him. So you wouldn't really expect him to, have that type of position in his life. If anything, you would expect him to be a better man because Tekashi is much younger than Shotti. But instead, he really hurt him. And you see it in this more full and detailed interview. It's like, for everyone who probably looked at him as just being this rat and like, I don't got no love for this dude, I can't stand him, you probably had a change of heart after watching this interview. Because it's like it gives you a soft spot in your heart for him now after hearing his experience with dealing with someone like Shotti, and how Shotti betrayed him and hurt him really bad. And that is the only reason why he put his name down as one of the many out of the Treyway gang to turn in. And, it wasn't so much like if I go down, they going down with me. It was more of, I'm going to make sure that y'all are out of, like y'all will not hurt me anymore. If anything, he exposed the very bad people in his life. And we didn't know that at first because we was only going by so much of what the media chose to put out or so much of what he chose to speak on. But again, he never went in deep with it like this to where now we know what really happened and we can look at it differently. Like, we won't judge him the same anymore. Not that any of us could judge anybody, but I'm just saying, just for the sake of everything that happened and how much, like, everything that happened with him, the gang, and going to federal prison. It's just like, it's way more to it than that led up to that happening. But again, I just wanted to speak on his relationship with his so-called best friend, the one that he really trusts, who ended up going behind his back and sleeping with his baby mama. And it was like, he not only put so much trust in him, he also put a lot of trust in his baby mama to like not ever do something like that to him. He said that they were together, I think, since they were 15 years old. And now that they are young adults, he was just saying, like, he's not excusing his, his behavior to let me see, not his behavior. I'm just going to say, like, when he put his hands on Sarah, he don't want anybody to be like, I understand why you did it. It's like you understand why he did it, even though you don't agree with it. Because it's like it's a natural reaction to be angry and and it turns into violence. But it's not okay to go through with it. And he's saying that this experience was a wake-up call for him. He felt more protected more than anything throughout his whole entire life, as far as dealing with the people in the gang. He felt more protected. He felt more at peace being in jail amongst a bunch of strangers who had the same, charge as him than he did with the people who had put a lot of trust in. And so, again, it just makes you start to look at him a little differently and probably have a little soft spot for him, feel sorry for him, and stop just labeling him as, oh, you just a rat. Now, a lot of people are still going to just call him a rat. That's all they're going to ever take from this whole story, dealing with 6ix9ine, going to jail and all that kind of stuff. It's because they just don't want to like him because of his trollish ways, because of how he just gets on people's last nerves. And he do a lot of things that are very insensitive. And yes, I do agree that it is wrong and he needs to stop. But for the sake of this story alone, I just wanted to speak on the narcissist in his life was his so-called best friend, the one who was close to him, the one who was just there to suck up all his energy, all his fame. And at the same time, he was jealous because no matter how much he felt being in his presence was going to rub off on him and make people flock to him that way, make people receive him a certain way, it never happened. It's just not going to happen like that when that's just not your natural persona. Like you're pretending to be someone else, or you just want to be them so bad to the point where you see it's not happening. You're not being satisfied in that way. So you develop this hatred for them, this envy, this secret jealousy, and you start to do things that will really, really hurt them. And that's going behind their back, sleeping, with their other half. And again, even though 6ix9ine was wrong because he was cheating on Sarah, she was wrong as well. So they even. She will hurt just as much as he will, but he probably is hurting more because there were two people that he had put a lot of trust in. And one of them really was trying to take him down, was trying to get him killed during the time that he got kidnapped. The narc in his life, Scotty, he even had something to do with setting up that kidnap. Like, how did the people even know where he lived? And again, y'all can go and check this interview out. It's a 2-part with the Shade Room. And I think it's called Tekashi 6ix9ine Tells All. There's part 1 and part 2, 2 separate videos. But again, part 2, the second video is the one that I was so deep into watching, and it made me just feel different about him. It's like now I know how I want to feel about him. At first, I couldn't really say because I like to get the full story of things. And even though like he didn't owe that to me for any reason or whatever, the fact that he put it out there, it made me look at it differently. The fact that he did tell on certain people who he used to run so hard with in the game and stuff like that. Like it wasn't just about him just taking somebody down with him. It was the reason why he did it is because they hurt him first. They were setting him up to be killed. It was all about money, fame, material things to them. That's all they cared about was the energy they were receiving from him, was the supply that he was giving them. At the end of the day, all of us probably have narcissists in our lives or have come in contact with it or dealt with that type of abuse. And it takes you through a deep trauma and pain. And once we are aware of this and we are awakened to it, we could speak on it and we could admit to, having just this settled peace of mind now, knowing that God brought us through that. In this interview, we even hear him speak on God differently than he used to. But now I think in part 1, he spoke about his relationship with his dad. Now I heard him did an interview on that before about how bad his dad passed away. I think his dad got killed. But he had a very close relationship with his dad. His dad was his hero. The way he spoke about his dad is like you can really feel it. And you can see that it really did something to him. Like it really, really, really hurted him. So he was like his mom, he just wanted to be like the hero that his dad was in his eyes. He wanted to be there for his mother. And I guess not only being there for his mother or the rest of his family, he was also that for the people who he kept around him and everything like that. It's just like no matter what, even though it's a lot of criminal activity involved, that's just the person he is. But once he put that lifestyle behind him, and this is something that he spoke on, he's decided to put that lifestyle behind him and just focus on music and entertainment and just being the troll that he is. He know that people are going to now see him as more than just that and being just this good-hearted person that just want to reach people and help people and just give back. Now, that's what he mentioned in the interview. And that remains to be seen. At the same time, he don't owe it to me. It's just something that I want to speak on. And it just makes you think like people will always try to paint a person as being a bad person. And just like my mom used to always say, you got to find people out for yourself. And with this interview, he was able to just lay it all out there so that we could know everything that happened. before we just be so quick to judge him and label him as just this evil, low-down person. So that's pretty much all I want to talk about in this video. Again, I'll put the link down below. Y'all can go and check it out if you want to. Yeah, and I'll talk to y'all soon.